UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Hernandez is tomorrow. I'm late with my predictions. My apologies. I've been busy. Sorry. Oh well. What a job, you know. I don't just do this full time. Obviously not. You've seen my upload rate. Anyway, first fight of the night. Carly Judice versus Juliana Miller. I lean towards Carly Judice, to be honest with you. Judice, however you pronounce it. Juliana Miller, pretty trash, to be honest with you. And Carly Judice is actually like a unicorn in the women's, like in women's MMA, in WMMA, because she actually gets finishes. And that's like so rare to come across. So we're going to go with Carly Judice to get a knockout. I'm thinking a round 2 knockout. I'm thinking late in round 2. Definitely past the halfway point. I'm feeling it. I am feeling it. I think Juliana Miller will actually do all right in the first round. I think she'll probably try and slow the fight down with a lot of grappling and stuff, but I think she's just going to tire herself out more by doing that and trying to contain the explosiveness of Judice, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with Judice, probably a knockout. Gonna say second round knockout. But yeah, on to the next one. Yada Duval versus Jordan Leather. Look, Jordan Leather, awful, absolutely trash. I don't like Jordan Leather. I think he's absolutely a can, absolutely trash can, cut him from the sport. That's fine because he doesn't like me either, so that's fine. I'm just an animal. So yeah, whatever. I hope Yada Delval absolutely chins him everywhere, and I'm picking Yadir. I'm picking Yadir to knock him out, to chin him everywhere. Yeah, I think Jordan Levitt's awful. Genuinely one of the worst fighters on the roster, to be honest with you. On to the next one. JPL versus Phil Rowe. That's Jean-Paul Lebosoniani. Hope I pronounced that right. I feel like that rolled off the tongue pretty well. But we'll call him JPL versus Phil Rowe. Listen, Phil Rowe, absolutely awful as well. Absolutely trash. Absolute can. He is being presented to he's being presented to JPL as a stepping stone. He will be stepped on and stepped over. Simple as that. I don't rate Phil Rowe very highly. In fact, I think he's on his way out. He must be pushing 40 now, right? And I don't see any improvement in his game. So, yeah. He's getting fed to a new prospect. He's likely to get chinned. He's probably going to get chinned. So, yeah, we're going to go with JPL, probably by TKO. I couldn't say around. Phil Rowe is a little bit tricky, but Phil Rowe's the kind of guy that's as likely to get knocked out in the first round as he is the third and second, you know? He's just not that good. He's just not. Sorry to put it that way, but he's just not that good. So I could see it going out in any round, to be honest with you. He kind of fights the level a little bit, where you're like, oh, he's doing better than you normally see him, and you're like, oh, that's interesting from Phil Rowe, but you're just deluding yourself, like he's just surviving pretty much. He's good at surviving, but yeah, I think he's going to get absolutely mollywopped. So yeah, we're gonna go with JPL over Phil Rowe. On to the next one. Ramiz Brahimaj versus Punahele Soriano. I hope I pronounced that right. I hope so. But yeah, I lean towards Punahele. I think he's probably the underdog. It's near evens, but he is the underdog. I do think Ramiz Brahimaj has the advantage grappling wise. I think he'll be able to stall out a lot of the fight in the grappling and maybe even turn it in his favour with the grappling. I do think the grappling advantage lies with him. But I don't know. I feel like Punahele's probably going to be able to stay on the feet for longer than Ramiz would want, and he's not going to be able to kind of tire him and take the wind out of his sails with the grappling the way he would want to. And again, I could see that backfiring. You see that a lot recently as well, where guys are going out there and trying to grapple a guy and slow him down, and they just burn themselves out too quickly. So we could see something like that happening. I don't think so, though. I think it's going to be actually quite an entertaining fight. I could even see it going to a decision and it being quite a close decision between the two of them. I lean towards Punahele Soriano. I really do. I do lean towards Punahele. So yeah, I'm going to go with Punahele. I think it's going to be a decision between the two of them. I think it's going to be a decision, which is funny because I've said, knockouts, knockouts, decision. So yeah, three knockouts to start the card, and then a decision. But it's not going to be a boring fight. I don't think this is actually a really decent card. But yeah, I think it's going to be a decision. And I think Punahele manages to just edge the decision from Ramiz Brahimaj. On to the next one. Nora Kanal versus Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards is like a unicorn. Another woman in WMMA who actually gets finishes, who actually knocks people out. She's even got a submission, but she's primarily a striker. Nora Kanal actually does have some submissions, I do believe. Maybe a knockout or two. Let me take. Let's take a deeper dive just to make sure I'm not chatting nonsense. So we have submission, yeah. Knockout, yeah. And then a submission, a TK, yeah. I know we are running this fight back. I should have mentioned that, yeah. Sure, we are running this fight back, and honestly, this time I could see Jocelyn Edwards knocking her out, knocking Nora Kanal out. So yeah, I'll just say it like that. Yeah, I think Jocelyn Edwards is probably going to get a knockout over Nora Kanal. Nora Kanal can survive. She's tough. She actually is tough, and she can survive. I just don't think she will. I mean, she did in the first fight, and it went to a decision. But I don't think she will this time. I feel like with age, Jocelyn Edwards is kind of... And I say with age, but Nora Kanal's older than Jocelyn Edwards. But I feel like with age... Is she older? Or am I chatting nonsense? Jocelyn Edwards is getting on a bit now, right? Yeah, she's way older. Yeah, she's way older. Nora Kanal, way older than Jocelyn Edwards. Nearly 40. Closer to 40. She's 36. Being a bit dramatic. Nora Kanal's a fair bit older than Jocelyn Edwards. But I feel like, unlike Nora Kanal, Jocelyn Edwards has gotten more vicious and better at finishing with age. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it works, with the women's, but she's getting like a second wind in her career, despite her age. So who knows? Who knows how it works? But yeah, we're gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards. I'm liking a cheeky little knockout from Jocelyn Edwards again, because we did. If you've been watching the channel. We did pick a knockout. We got a submission, and then a knockout, and then a knockout. Obviously Chelsea Chandler, awful running away in the middle of a fight. That's what she's famous for, is running away in the middle of a fight, getting hurt, and then straight up running away. So that was obvious that was going to happen, But I'm liking the hot streak from Edwards. So we're going to go with Jocelyn Edwards. Over Nora Kanal, I'm thinking by a knockout by TKO. On to the next one is Alden Correa versus Louis Gurul. Louis Gurul is absolutely awful. Louis Gurul, I don't think, has won a fight in the UFC. Louis Gurul is a trash fighter. Does he have a win in the UFC? Won on Contenders. Doesn't have a win in UFC. Got chinned by Ode Osborne, who is next. And lost a decision to Jesus. I mean, who doesn't lose a decision to Jesus at the end of the day? But yeah, Louis Gurul, actually awful. Actually a can. And I do think he's going to get absolutely, yeah, he's going to get chinned. He's getting set up to get chinned. Gurul's getting set up to get chinned. So yeah, by a prospect. So I'll just mess with the green screen by raising my hands. Apologies. Yeah, Louis Gurul, definitely getting knocked out. Yeah. They're trying to build a prospect off of him. I don't know why. He's not even like a name, but I suppose he is a stepping stone. So yeah, they're getting Alden Correa to open the can. That is, to crush the can. That is Louis Gurul. On to the next one. We've got Ode Osborne, whose last win was over the trash Louis Gurul. That was his last win in his last 5 fights, right? His only win in his last 5 fights is over Louis Gurul. Well, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? That's awful. That is actually awful. So, obviously, we're going with Alibi Idris. I can't say his last name. Idris. Whatever. Alibi. We're going to go with Alibi. A tough one to say. I would like Alibi to, go in there and, get him down and beat him up, and get, the ground and pound finish. But Ode Osborne is a bit tricky. He's a bit tricky, and to be honest with you, I could see it being a submission. I feel like Ode Osborne just kind of flails around when he ends up on bottom. He just kind of flails around and just gives limbs away and gives his neck away, and it's a bit bizarre. Because clearly he knows a little bit of what he's doing, but he just gives things away all willy-nilly. So I really could see a submission. I would want a TKO, because if you're thinking about it like hot streak wise, we get three TKOs, 3 knockouts, 3 finishes, we'll say. Then a decent decision in a scrappy back and forth fight. Then another knockout, you're like, yeah, and then we watch Lewis Gruel get absolutely stomped again, and you're like, yeah, this is actually a decent card. This has the potential to be a banging card. And then we have Ode Osborne coming in and, I don't know, throwing a few bombs and then getting tired, pretty much. So yeah, we'll go with Alibi. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a submission victory. But I would like a TKO. I'm hoping for a TKO, but for the picks, we're going with a submission. We're going with a submission to Alibi Idris. On to the next one. Chidin Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. I feel like I always mess up when it's a Leal fight, when it's a Carlos Leal fight. I feel like I always go against him when he wins, you know? I feel like I always go against him when he wins. Let me see. Yeah, I go against him when he wins, and then I pick him when he loses. So I guess just go against whatever I do in this one. Because I'm never right when it comes to Carlos Leal. He probably beats Chidi, though, right? He probably beats Chidi. Like what? He beat Reese McKee by a split decision. He was gifted a split decision over Reese McKee. Was gifted a decision over Jared Gordon. Did get a TKO. Okay, that's fair. And then he got submitted by Jake Matthews. And I'm fairly sure I picked Jake Matthews to win that fight as well. I don't think he's got it. I'll be honest, I don't think Chidi's got it. I think, he probably didn't beat Jared Gordon, you know? Like, Jared Gordon has this weird thing where he just gets robbed a lot. So, you know, and it wasn't like a dominant victory for Jared Gordon, obviously, because it was a unanimous decision victory to Chidi. But it was a lot closer than that would make it seem, you know? And it's one of them fights where Jared Gordon has a claim to be like, yo, I was robbed, you know? Jared Gordon like went on like a 3 or 4 loss streak where it was just robbery after robbery, I'm fairly sure, where it was like there was really good arguments for him having winning these decisions, but he just wasn't getting the decisions. But, you know, remember back in the day when Dana White used to say, don't let it go to the judges because the judges are idiots? No one says that anymore. It's probably because they're in his pocket, allegedly. But yeah, anyone ever noticed the way that doesn't get brought up anymore? And all the judge decisions seem to go in favour of, you know, the UFC's money making? Strange that, isn't it? Anyway. They don't always go and they don't always, to be fair. You know? Sometimes they do. More often than not, they do. Allegedly. Don't sue me. But yeah, we're going to go with Carlos Leal. And as I said before, I've never made the correct prediction about a Carlos Leal fight. So, as of yet, all 3 of them in the UFC, because we don't predict LFA or fucking, what was that, UAE? UAE Warriors. We don't predict UAE Warriors or LFA over here. We don't even watch UAE Warriors, and we hardly watch LFA unless it's like actually a prospect that we're keeping an eye on. So yeah. Next up, we're going to go with Zach Reese. No, we're not. Next up is Zach Reese and Michel Pereira. I kind of want to go with Michel Pereira, not going to lie. I kind of do. I know we're on a 3-fight loss streak. I know we are. But remember when he was good? Remember when he was doing some good stuff? Yeah, I'm going to go with him. I am going to go with him. He's a slight favourite. Yeah, I could see that. You know, I just wanted to win and do some wild stuff, you know? I just wanted to win and do some wild stuff. So yeah, we're going to go with Michel Pereira. I mean, how good is... It's actually a tough one. Maybe it goes to a decision, to be fair. Actually a tough one to pick. It could go to a decision, to be honest with you. It really could go to a decision. Yeah. It's not like, you know, what? Anthony Hernandez is pretty damn good, you know? Abus Magomedov, pretty damn good. Kyle Dorcas from the Dorcas Mountains. Kyle Dorcas. Go to Dorkistan. Kyle Dorcas. One of the best fighters in the UFC, if you'd ask me. You know, so losing to Kyle Dorcas, not at all shameful. Kyle Dorcas of the Dorcas Mountains, one of my favourite fighters. 2-3 years Dorcas Mountains and forget, brother. But yeah. Maybe that's what, you know what? We're gonna go with Michel Pereira because losing to these guys is actually not that bad. I know it's a 3-fight loss streak, but it's aged really well for Michel Pereira. So yeah, we're gonna go with Michel Pereira over Zach Reese. He's a slight favourite. So yeah, I think we've probably gone with the favourite for most of these, but I feel like they're a little bit obvious this week. But whatever. Yeah, we're gonna go with Michel Pereira. I couldn't say how, to be honest with you. I couldn't say how. I think Zach Reese has probably got enough grappling to avoid getting submitted, and I think in the stand-up it's a slight edge to Pereira, just for being tricky and being like just giving different looks. His style's all like feinty and whatnot. It's hard to keep track of. It makes you think a lot, overloads your brain. He's one of them styles where he tries to just make you think about everything and then starts hitting you. He tries to make you think about everything while he's hitting you. But yeah, but Zach Reese is pretty damn good too, to be fair. And you know, maybe not as much experience as Pereira, but yeah. Yeah, we're going to go with Pereira. Why not? We'll go with Pereira. We want to see some antics. We want to see the good stuff. On to the next one. We've got Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. I'm not too familiar with Josiah Harrell. I'm not going to lie. What's he been up to? LFA. Ohio Combat League. Okay. Yo, I've never heard of Ohio Combat League. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not even gonna bullshit. I don't know who this dude is. I don't know anyone he's fought. Well, that guy has a V in his name. But it was a corner stoppage. That means he threw in the towel, right? We know Fury. We know the Contender Series. Yo, he beat Preston Parsons. What? And Nico Price. Whoa. Jacoby Smith, man. What a guy. Yeah, well, we're probably going to go with Jacoby Smith then because we don't know anything about Josiah Harrell. And it seems like we've just kind of snatched up a guy who was doing pretty well outside the UFC. They're all both 11 and 11, to be fair. But Jacoby Smith's got more experience inside the UFC. So we're going to go with Jacoby Smith over Josiah Harrell. Hope that's how you pronounce it. To wait and see. On to the next one. Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delija. I'm actually excited for this fight. I said this in my last prediction that I was excited for this fight because, this is like the B plot to the Aspinall eye poke, if you ask me. Like, Ante Delija, before the Cyril Gane fight, okay, Tom Aspinall is talking about how he's going to be champion, and then he's going to be champion for a little while longer, and then he's going to look to step aside and maybe retire and give Ante Delija an opportunity at the title, or maybe even fight Ante Delija as teammate, because they're teammates. Then he fights Cyril, gets poked in the eye, there's a no contest. Not going to get into the drama, but there's some drama that goes down. And so Ante Delija throws his 2 cents in. He says, listen, guys, I've never eye-poked anybody in my entire career of like 30 fights-ish, 31 fights. I've never fouled anybody, okay? I think it's inexcusable. The next week, he fights Waldo Cortez Acosta and pokes him in the eye in a fight that he was actually winning. Ante Delija was beating the brakes off of Waldo Cortez Acosta and then poked him in the eye. And there was a finishing sequence, I'm fairly sure, after the eye poke as well. Ref stops it, gives him a timeout for the eye poke. He's like, nah, man, let's go. I'm ready to go. So they get back to the fight, and after he's had his little second to wipe his eye, they don't stop the fight. He still can't see blatantly. He's still wiping his eye as the fight restarts. And then he absolutely bonks Ante Delija, drops him, follows him down there, and finishes him. And since then, Waldo Cortez Acosta has been on a winning streak, an emphatic winning streak of finish after finish. Very interesting. Even calling out Aspinall over being a pussy because he got his eye poked. It's actually quite comical after all that talk of I'm on Aspinall's side as well. I just thought it was really funny for Ante Delija to be like, I've never fouled anybody, and then he immediately fouls Waldo Cortez Acosta in a fight he's winning, and then gets chinned by Waldo Cortez Acosta, who chose to continue. Right out, it's a great. the storylines are great in that kind of section of the heavyweight division. So it'll be good to see how he does against Sergey Spivak. This is like his bounce back fight. If he can beat Sergey Spivak, I could see them trying to like angle for a Wilder Cortez Acosta rematch. See, I think they want Wilder Cortez Acosta for the belt. I mean, I know this isn't part of the prediction video, but I'm just going to say my piece because why not? But I think they want Wilder Cortez Acosta to fight for a title. That I think they think he's marketable. I think he is marketable. I think he's doing really well, and the finishes aren't not helping. You know, he's doing really good. I think they want him. They want to set up a fight, but they don't want to do it with Tom. I think they would like to set up a fight with Ante Delija and him, and kind of like, if they run that one back, then it kind of can hype the Aspinall fight. I would expect they'd be expecting Waldo Cortez Acosta to win, and it could be really good hype. He rematches Ante Delija, they fight. There's no eye poke this time. Waldo knocks him out. I just knocked out your boy legit this time. There wasn't like, because there's an excuse for Ante Delija to be like, I blew my load. I poked him in the eye, yeah, but the ref didn't stop the fight at the eye poke. I thought it was legal. I think it was a thumb. But I thought, you know, you can make that excuse. If it's not true, it's not true. But, you know, he poked him in the eye. You could say, oh, you didn't stop it immediately. I went for the finish. I got the finish, I thought, but it was the ref stopping it to give him a timeout. So, you know, that's your adrenaline dump. Maybe that's the argument you could give. And then they run that fight back, and then it kind of hypes a Waldo Cortez Aspinall fight for the belt. That is if Aspinall isn't just blind and no longer coming back to the sport. It's a wild one. It's the storylines, man. It's the storylines we want to see. But yeah, I'm thinking Ante Delija knocks him out. To be honest with you, Ante Delija is really good in my opinion. I think he was winning that Waldo Cortez fight as well, just before until all that madness happened. But he poked the guy in the eye. And that's, after all that talk, you know, you can't really have an excuse. So that's just how it goes. He's the underdog as well. A slight favourite. Yeah, he is good. He is good. I could actually see him putting a beating on Sergey Spivak, even though he's the smaller dude. On to the next one. We've got Dan Ige versus Milquez Costa. I love Milky. Milky's one of my favourite fighters at the minute also. I've actually got quite a few fighters that I'm a fan of, because we've got Ante Delija. I'm a fan of Sergey Spivak as well, to be fair. So that's actually a really good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It'll be a shame to see either one lose, but I do lean in favour of Ante Delija just because, you know, training out of the UK. Team Aspinall, you know. Got to be done. We know we're biased on this channel, don't we? I've said it before. Just because there's no, like, you know, it's got to be said. Just because they aren't putting the flag next to the name doesn't mean they aren't fighting out of the UK, you know. But yeah, we're going to go with Milquez Costa over Dan Ige. They're pushing him to win it. I could, honestly, yeah, underdog. I feel like I've just gone with the betting line for this entire... I've just gone with the bookies, the entire card. Oh, well. Yeah, Milquez Costa probably beats up Dan Ige. I think he's got better stand-up. I think he's going to be able to stay on his feet and use his better stand-up, to be honest with you. I mean, we'll take a deeper look just to see if I'm wrong, but look at the, you know. And they're not, like, terrible losses. They're not terrible losses, but, you know. Sean Woodson, you know, who cares? That's not amazing, you know. Morgan Charrier, knocking out Morgan Charrier is actually decent. I picked Milky to beat. I picked Milky to knock out Morgan Charrier, obviously. But, like, Morgan Charrier, man, what a guy. He's been around for a while. He's actually a name. He's one of them fighters that could actually build himself in France outside of the UFC. He could be, like, France's MVP if he wants to be, because he is good. He is good. But, yeah, Milquez Costa outstruck him. Morgan Charrier is a brilliant striker. Okay, I know I slagged him off in the last video because he's French, but we've got to give him his props now, okay? Because I'm using him to hype someone else. So we've got to I'm a delusional MMA fan, remember? So we've got to give him his props now so that I can make Milquez Costa, so I can justify it from cope. So yeah, so Milquez Costa knocked out Morgan Charrier, who was actually pretty decent, to be honest with you, in the stand-up. And I think the league's better than Dan Ige in the stand-up, and I don't think Dan Ige is going to be able to really bully Milquez Costa around. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, so I'm going to go with Milquez Costa. We're going to go with our Milky over Dan Ige. I could see a finish. Why not? We'll go with a submission finish. Why not? He strangles Dan Ige with a rear naked choke. On to the next one. Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. Gonna go with Otis Medic, to be honest with you. How old is... Then again, Jeff Neal is not, like, to be written off. How old is he? He's 35. Not the best. Otis Medic isn't young either, to be fair. But, you know, decent wins, man. Decent wins. Lost to Punahele, though. You know? It's a tough one. Lost to Orobai as well. But, like, not terrible losses. Not shameful losses. Not bad at all. Not... See, again, with Jeff Neal as well. Shavkat Rakhmonov, not a bad loss. Ian Gary, not a bad loss. Carlos Prates, really not a bad loss. Beat Rafael dos Anjos, but leg injury, you know. Bit of a strange one. Beat Vicente Luque. Is that Vicente Luque... Is that brain injury Vicente Luque? 3 years and 6 months ago. I can't even think off the top of my head. But Vicente Luque's got some skills, to be fair. Like, Jeff Neal is another guy that kind of fights the level. Where, so if you put him into there with someone good like Otis Medic, you know, you might actually see him do some good stuff. So it's a tough one, to be honest with you. But then again, he does seem to trip when he's coming against some of the tops of the division. Is Otis Medic one of the tops of the division, though? Probably not. Probably not. Is he top? Is he top 15 material? Maybe. Yeah, you want. We're gonna go with Otis Medic. He's slightly younger. Some of the physical attributes don't really go in his favour. But to be fair, I like the fact that he's a little younger. I like the fact I've been sliding down in my chair, disappearing off camera the whole time. He's a little bit younger, a little bit hungrier. He's on a bit of a run, to be honest with you. I like the momentum. Jeff Neal's kind of staggering, stoppy-starty towards this latter half of his career, if you will. So yeah, we're gonna go with Otis Medic, just because of the momentum, I suppose. Really tips him over in my opinion. I could see it being a decision. I really could see it being a decision. So yeah, we're gonna go with Otis Medic by a decision over Jeff Neal. On to the next one, and the final one, the main event, Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. It's really funny because I normally drop a here's the thing, you guys, every prediction video at least once, and now I've got a Sean Strickland prediction video and I haven't said it once. Hilarious. Well, I did just say it, but not like in the rest of the video. I hadn't. The big one, Mr. Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. It's a tough one, to be honest with you. It's a tough one because both guys are quite technical, like actually quite technical. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. It's such a tough one. Really, it is a tough one. Because Anthony Hernandez will wear you down and break you down, and then like actually break you down and beat you down. Whereas Sean Strickland will do something very similar, except it's more a range game with Strickland. So Anthony Hernandez is happy to close the distance and go toe-to-toe with you, and he will beat you up, whereas Strickland manages that range really well with the teeps. It'll be an interesting fight. I don't know how the grappling will come into play. I really don't know how the grappling will come into play, I'll be honest with you. It's actually quite an interesting fight. It's probably going to be quite slow. If I'm being honest with you, it's probably going to be slow. It is a Strickland fight, so there's going to be a lot of teeps and a lot of jabs. Yeah, a lot of iCarly looking moments, if we're being honest with you. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Fluffy's been looking good, man, and he's got the momentum. And I feel like Strickland's been a little bit dismissive. Been a little bit, just a tad dismissive of Anthony Hernandez. So I don't know, it's a tough one. I am torn. But I've got to make a decision, right? Because it's a prediction video. So, I don't know though. I'm leaning towards Anthony Hernandez, to be honest with you. He's the favourite as well. Yeah, but he could do what he did to Izzy and just not let Fluffy get started and just teep and jab him around for a while. Just kind of break up the rhythm. Then again, you know, Fluffy's one of them guys that spars all the time. And he's probably used to it. You know what? we've gone with the bookies through all of this. So you know what? We'll just throw a curveball out there, okay? Sean Strickland's going to win this by a decision. I think Sean Strickland's going to teep and jab his way to a decision again. There may even be a moment where he starts teaching fucking Anthony Hernandez how to strike. Something in this. You're not doing it right, Anthony. And he's going to start like, this is how you block. You know what I mean? Remember that time he was fighting? Was it Jack Hermanson? I think it was Jack. Was it Jack Hermanson? Come on, Jack. I'm going to give you a chance to win it, Jack. Over COVID, right? I'm going to give you a chance to get back in this, Jack. I could see a moment like that. I really could. But you know, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Sean Strickland. My brain, my MMA brain, is telling me to pick Anthony Hernandez, but I feel like it would be too easy if the betting line is just correct all the way through this card. It'd be too easy, and I feel like most of these fights are kind of like no-brainers. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna get every single one wrong because that's the way it goes. But I feel like a lot of these are kind of no-brainers, and that's why the betting line is so consistent with the picks, I suppose. But I feel like maybe Strickland's being rode off a little bit here. I don't think he's going to end up in the positions where Anthony Hernandez is going to be able to do the damage he does. Like, Anthony Hernandez will get you against the fence and he'll beat you up a little bit, and then there'll be a moment to breathe, and maybe we'll grapple and exchange in the grappling. I just don't think he's going to be able to implement that game plan necessarily on Sean Strickland. I think there's other things he could do. He's definitely capable of doing other stuff and mixing it up, and maybe he's got a different game plan for Sean Strickland. But the regular Anthony Hernandez go-tos probably won't play out as well against Sean Strickland as you would think, just because of the range management. And he's got decent takedown defense as well, to be fair to him. So yeah, I think it could be quite interesting. I think Sean Strickland's regular game plan of just teeping and jabbing and controlling the range and just not letting you really get close enough to score is kind of how you beat Anthony Hernandez. So it'll be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see. I'm interested to see it. So yeah, even though my brain leans towards Fluffy, I'm kind of talking myself out of it now. So I'm going to go with Sean Strickland, the underdog. Whatever. We've gone with the favourite for most of these, right? Oh no, we went with Oris Medic over Jeff Neal, and he's also the underdog. Yeah, okay. Near even, slight favourite. Yeah, so, you know, we've gone with the favourite for near enough. Yeah, yeah. So we've gone with the favourite for basically every fight. So I suppose it makes sense that we're going crazy at the end and picking Oris Medic, the underdog, and Sean Strickland, the underdog. Plus 215 underdog, that's crazy. That's far too much. It shouldn't be that. It should be a lot closer. Whatever. Thank you very much for watching all the way until the end. If you did watch until all the end, thank you. You're a good person. Until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.